You ever feel like your life isn't really yours? Like you're just a stand-in parent while someone else plays house with their own choices? That's how I've felt for years. My name's Alex, I'm 25, and I've basically been raising kids that aren't mine since I was old enough to cook spaghetti without burning the pot. The thing is, my mom has always loved being the fun one. She thrives on attention, thrives on chaos, thrives on being seen as the young, carefree mother who somehow juggles everything with a smile. Except she doesn't juggle everything. She drops half the balls and leaves me scrambling to pick them up. When I was 13, Mom had my youngest brother. By then, I already knew what it meant. Late-night bottles? Me. School pickups? Me. Parent-teacher conferences when Mom was too tired? Me. While my friends were out playing soccer or sneaking into movies, I was rocking a crying infant to sleep, trying to keep the noise down so Mom could nap before her next night out. And the older I got, the more I just accepted it. Like this was my role in life. She'd have the babies, I'd raise them. She'd take the credit for being the quirky, strong single mom, and I'd be the shadow in the background making sure no one starved. But last month, everything snapped. It started on a Wednesday night. I came home from work, exhausted, smelling like fryer grease because I'd picked up an extra shift at the diner. The kids were scattered around the living room. My sister, 12, was curled up on the couch with her phone. My brothers, 10 and 8, were fighting over a controller, the TV blasting so loud the walls shook. Dishes piled in the sink, homework untouched, laundry in a heap. "Where's Mom?" I asked, already knowing the answer. My sister shrugged without looking up. "Went out." Of course. I sighed, kicked off my shoes, and started picking up the mess. Same cycle, different night. But then, right as I was halfway through rinsing plates, Mom burst through the door like she was carrying the secret of the century. Her eyes were wide, her lips stretched in this grin that told me something was coming, and I wasn't going to like it. She clapped her hands. "Everyone! Big news! Come sit, come sit." The kids gathered, their eyes lighting up at her energy. She was magnetic when she wanted to be. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, already bracing myself. "I'm pregnant," she announced. The room erupted. My brothers jumped, shouting about a baby brother. My sister squealed like she'd just won concert tickets. Even Mom clutched her chest dramatically, like she was on some reality show, tears in her eyes. And me. I froze. The sound around me blurred, their voices muffled like I'd gone underwater. Pregnant. Again. Which meant. I knew exactly what it meant. More sleepless nights. More school lunches. More tears, homework, doctor appointments. Except none of it was hers to carry. It would land right on me, like it always did. I didn't clap. I didn't smile. I didn't even fake it. I just said, "You can't be serious." The room went silent for a beat. My sister frowned. Mom tilted her head, all mock offense. "What's that supposed to mean?" I stepped forward, my voice sharp. "It means I'm not raising another one of your kids, Mom. I'm not doing this again." Her smile faltered. The kids stared at me like I'd just kicked a puppy. My mother's face hardened, and in that moment, I knew. I just lit a match that couldn't be put out. Mom's grin vanished, replaced with that look she always wore when someone dared to ruin her spotlight. Chin up, eyes narrowing, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Oh, Alex," she cooed. "Don't be dramatic. This is happy news. You should be supporting me, not tearing me down in front of your siblings." I barked a laugh, sharp and bitter. "Supporting you? You mean babysitting, cooking, Paying bills you can't cover. That's not support, Mom. That's me being their father when I never asked to be. The kids' eyes darted between us like they were watching a tennis match. My sister's lower lip trembled. My youngest brother muttered, "Alex, don't be mean." That hit me harder than I expected. Mean. That's how it always looked. Mom got to play the victim, and I got painted as the ungrateful child. She pressed her hand to her chest, letting out a sigh that was practically rehearsed. I've done everything for you kids. Everything. And this is the thanks I get? Your own mother telling you she's having a baby, and you, her voice cracked for emphasis, you act like it's a burden. Because it is, I snapped. You don't raise them, Mom. I do. Silence. Even the TV seemed to hush itself. She blinked, then her face hardened into something colder. We'll talk about this later, she said flatly. Not in front of the little ones. But later came sooner than I thought. The next evening, I walked through the door after another double shift, my feet aching, uniform reeking of grease. Waiting at the kitchen table were Mom and, of course, Aunt Denise. She was Mom's favorite weapon. The woman who'd had 2 kids, both of whom lived across the country and barely called, yet somehow she thought she was the authority on family duty. Sit down, Alex, Mom said, her voice clipped. I stayed standing. I'm tired. Can we not sit? So I did. Aunt Denise folded her arms, giving me that disappointed aunt look. Your mother tells me you don't want to help with the baby. I scoffed. The baby? You mean her baby? Not mine. Denise shook her head. Family takes care of family. Always has, always will. Don't tell me you're too selfish to step up. My jaw clenched. Selfish. The word stung, even though I knew it was a lie. I wasn't selfish. I was drained, wrung out, used up before I even had a chance to build my own life. I'm not doing this anymore, I said, each word heavy. I'm not raising another kid that isn't mine. Mom's eyes flashed. So you're just going to walk out? Leave us all struggling? What about your siblings, huh? You'll abandon them. That guilt hit like a fist to my stomach, but I forced myself to sit up straighter. They're your responsibility, not mine. And if you can't handle it, maybe you shouldn't be having another kid. Her mouth dropped open like I'd slapped her. Denise gasped. The kids, who had been eavesdropping in the hallway, scattered like startled mice. That was the moment I knew something was breaking. I wasn't sure if it was the family, or me, or both. That night, I packed a small duffel bag. Just clothes, my worn-out sneakers, and the little cash I had saved. I didn't leave yet. Not that night. But I set the bag by my bedroom door like a silent promise. Because whether Mom wanted to admit it or not, I was done being her replacement parent. The duffel bag sat there like a secret, its zipper grinning at me every time I looked at it. Each day that passed, I felt the weight of my decision growing heavier, and yet, somehow lighter too. Like the idea of leaving was terrifying, but also the only thing keeping me from collapsing under it all. But of course, Mom didn't let it slide. She never did. 2 mornings later, I woke up to the sound of her barging into my room without knocking. She flicked the light on, squinting at the bag by the door like she'd caught me hiding contraband. "What's this?" she demanded, pointing at it. "My stuff," I muttered, still half under the blanket. Her voice rose. "Why are you packing? Are you really planning to abandon your family? Alex, you're all those kids have." I sat up, anger sparking hot in my chest. "No, Mom. They have you. Or at least, they should. You're their mother, Not me. She stared at me for a long second, then her lips curled into a bitter smile. You think you're so grown up, so independent, but the truth is you're ungrateful. Everything I've done for you. I cut her off, my voice sharper than I meant it to be. What have you done for me, Mom? Really? Because all I remember is raising your kids while you went out, covering bills you couldn't handle, and cleaning up messes that weren't mine. That's not parenting. That's dumping. Her eyes narrowed. You're just like your father. That one landed. A low blow. Dad had walked out when I was 10, and she never let me forget it. To her, just like your father, was the worst thing anyone could be. I swallowed hard, forcing the lump in my throat down. Maybe he had the right idea, I whispered. Her hand twitched like she wanted to slap me, but instead she stormed out, slamming the door so hard my mirror rattled. Later that evening, the whispers started. My sister cornered me in the hallway, her eyes wide with panic. Alex, are you really leaving? I hesitated. I don't know yet. Tears welled in her eyes. You can't. You're the only one who helps us. Mom doesn't, she doesn't do it the same way. Please don't go. Hearing that nearly broke me. She wasn't wrong, I was the only one who kept things running. But that was exactly the problem. I wasn't supposed to be. I knelt down so we were eye to eye. Listen to me. None of this is your fault. You hear me? None of it. I love you guys. But I can't keep being the parent. I need to live my life too. She sniffled, nodded, but I could see she didn't really understand. How could she? She was just a kid, forced to grow up in the shadow of Mom's choices, just like me. That night, as I lay awake, I heard Mom's voice in the living room. Low, angry, whispering into the phone. He's threatening to leave. I don't know what to do. No, I can't handle it alone. He doesn't care about his siblings, he only thinks of himself. I closed my eyes, heart pounding. She wasn't talking to me anymore. She was talking about me. Probably to Denise, maybe even to some new boyfriend. And I realized something crystal clear. To her, I wasn't her child. I was a tool. A stand-in. A safety net. The duffel bag by the door wasn't just a maybe anymore. It was a countdown. The countdown ended faster than I thought. 2 days later, I got home from work and found Mom sitting at the kitchen table, waiting for me. She had that look, the one she used when she wanted something big, the one that said don't you dare say no. On the table was a pile of bills, scattered like evidence. The electric, the water, past due notices with bold red letters stamped across the top. She tapped the stack with one manicured finger. You need to help with these, she said flatly. I dropped my bag on the floor. No, I don't. These are yours. Her eyes flashed. Don't you talk to me like that. You live here, don't you? You eat here. You sleep under this roof. You think you get all that for free. I laughed, sharp and humorless. Free. Mom, I pay half the groceries, I buy the kids' clothes, and I cover gas money. You've been leaning on me for years. Don't act like I'm freeloading. Her mouth opened, then snapped shut. She hated when I had receipts. Finally, she leaned back, folding her arms. If you walk out on this family, you'll regret it. Those kids will hate you. They'll remember you as the brother who abandoned them when things got hard. That one hit hard, twisting the knife she always knew how to use. My siblings. The ones who didn't ask for any of this. The ones who relied on me. But then I remembered my sister's trembling voice. You're the only one who helps us. And the truth sank in like a stone. If I stayed, I'd just keep enabling Mom. Nothing would change. She'd keep having kids, keep dumping them on me, keep living like responsibility was optional. I took a slow breath. I won't regret it, Mom. Because I'm not their parent. You are. Her face went pale, then red with fury. She slammed her fist on the table. Fine. Go. See if I care. But don't you dare come crawling back when the world chews you up and spits you out. The kids came running from the hallway, eyes wide, hearing every word. My youngest brother started crying. My sister just stared at me, silent, like she was memorizing my face in case it disappeared. I bent down, picked up my duffel bag, and slung it over my shoulder. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might break through my ribs. For a second, I froze in the doorway. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back, to stay, to protect them. But I forced my legs to move. The screen door slammed behind me, and for the first time in my life, I walked away from that house without looking back. The night air was cold, sharp against my skin. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Mom blowing it up already, but I didn't check. My steps felt heavy and light all at once, like I was carrying every burden I'd ever had but also dropping them behind me with each stride. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what would happen next. But I knew one thing for certain. I was done raising her kids. The first night out of that house was the strangest mix of terror and relief I'd ever felt. I crashed on a friend's couch, Ethan, a guy I'd worked with at the diner who knew just enough about my situation to nod and say, "Stay as long as you need." But even lying there, staring at his cracked ceiling fan, I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed non-stop on the coffee table. 23 missed calls, dozens of texts, all from Mom. Mom, you've ruined this family. Mom, your sister won't stop crying. Are you proud of yourself? Mom, the bills are due. What do you expect me to do? Let the lights get cut off? Mom, selfish. Just like your father. Each one burned, but I ignored them. I had to. By the second day though, she escalated. She showed up at the diner, right in the middle of my shift. I was bussing a table when I felt that familiar perfume cloud drift in, sugary sweet and suffocating. There you are, she snapped, loud enough for customers to turn their heads. You've got some nerve walking out on us like that. Do you know how much your siblings need you? Do you even care? I froze, the tray shaking in my hands. My manager, a wiry woman named Claire, raised her eyebrows like she was ready to step in. But I shook my head. Mom, I said low, steady. This isn't the place. Oh, I think it is, she shot back. Everyone should know what kind of son abandons his pregnant mother. The words sliced through me. Pregnant mother. She knew exactly how to twist it to make me look like the villain. Customers whispered. A couple at the counter frowned at me. My chest burned hot with shame. I set the tray down and met her eyes. I'm not doing this here. Go home. Her face twisted. She opened her mouth again, but Claire stepped in, her voice sharp. Ma'am, if you're not eating, you need to leave. For once, Mom didn't argue with authority. She huffed, flipped her hair, and stormed out, the bell on the door jangling violently behind her. I stood frozen, my pulse hammering. Claire gave me a long look, then muttered, "You want me to block her number from the store line?" I managed a weak nod. That night, I almost caved. Sitting on Ethan's couch, scrolling through my siblings' photos on my phone, I felt the guilt gnawing at me. My sister's birthday was coming up. My youngest brother had a science fair soon. What if they thought I didn't love them anymore? But then I remembered the weight of Mom's words, the way she cornered me, used me, twisted every choice I made into guilt. I whispered into the dark, like a promise. I can love them without sacrificing myself. And for the first time, I believed it might be true. By the end of the week, the rest of the family had joined the chorus. Mom must have been working overtime on the phone, because suddenly my uncles, cousins, even grandma, were blowing up my phone. Uncle Ray, you're really gonna dump all this on your mother? Shameful. Grandma, I raised your mom better than this, but I didn't raise you to walk out on family. Cousin Jenna, your sister cried herself to sleep last night. You're heartless. Every ping of my phone felt like a nail being hammered in. They weren't asking me what happened. They weren't listening. They just repeated Mom's script word for word. Ethan glanced at my phone once, saw the flood of messages, and said, "Dude, block him. All of them." I shook my head. They're still my family. He gave me a look. Are they acting like it? That question sat heavy in my chest. The breaking point came 2 nights later. I was closing at the diner, wiping down the counter, when the door swung open. It was Aunt Denise, Mom's attack dog in heels. She marched straight up to me, ignoring Claire's polite, "We're closed." "You listen here," she hissed, planting both hands on the counter. "Your mother is overwhelmed. She's pregnant, Alex. Do you have any idea what stress does to a baby? And here you are, running away, piling it on. If something happens to that child, it'll be on you." Her voice dripped with venom, but it was her eyes that got me. They weren't angry. They were smug. She knew she was twisting the knife. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice steady. If Mom can't handle being a parent, then she shouldn't be having another baby. That's not my fault. Denise scoffed so loud it echoed. Ungrateful brat. After everything she's done for you, food, shelter, clothes, and this is how you repay her. I laughed bitterly. Everything she's done for me? I've been paying half her bills since I was 16. I practically raised my siblings. I've done more for her than she's ever done for me. Her face tightened, but she didn't argue. She just shook her head slowly, like I was already lost, and spat. "You'll regret this when she cuts you out of her life for good." Then she turned on her heel and left. I stood there frozen, rag still in my hand, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. That night, I sat on Ethan's couch, staring at the ceiling again. I thought about Mom, about the kids, about every sacrifice I'd made, every piece of myself I'd handed over. And then I thought about the duffel bag, still sitting by the door of Ethan's apartment. I whispered to myself, steady this time, if they cut me out, maybe that's not the worst thing. Because maybe, just maybe, losing them meant finally gaining myself. I couldn't take the silence with my siblings anymore. The guilt ate at me every night, wondering what Mom was telling them, if they thought I hated them, if they believed I'd just walked away without a second thought. So, Saturday morning, I took the risk. I showed up at the house. When I pulled into the driveway, my stomach twisted. The curtains twitched like someone had spotted me. A moment later, the front door opened, and my little brother darted out, bare feet slapping against the pavement. He wrapped his arms around my waist so tightly I could barely breathe. "Alex! You came back!" he shouted, his face beaming. I knelt, hugging him hard, trying to keep my voice steady. "Of course I did, buddy. I'll always come back for you." But when I looked up, I saw my sister standing in the doorway, her expression harder than I'd ever seen. She crossed her arms. "Mom said you don't want us anymore." The words hit like a gut punch. I stood slowly, my throat tight. "That's not true. Not even close." "Then why'd you leave?" she demanded, her eyes wet but unblinking. I swallowed hard. Because I was tired of being treated like the parent. I love you guys, but it's not supposed to be my job. It's Mom's. And she keeps acting like I'm the bad guy because I said no. Her face crumpled, confusion mixing with anger. She said you hate the new baby. That you don't care if we starve. I felt my chest burn with rage. That's a lie. I'd never let you starve. And I don't hate the baby. I can't raise another kid. It's not fair. My words hung heavy in the air. My brother clung to my hand, looking between us. My sister's lip trembled. For a second, I thought maybe she believed me. Then Mom's voice sliced through the moment. Alex! She stormed out onto the porch, one hand on her belly like she was already performing for an audience. What the hell are you doing here? You think you can just show up after everything you've said? I squared my shoulders. I came to see my siblings. That's it. You don't get to, she snapped. Not after abandoning us. You made your choice. I glanced at my sister, then back at Mom. My voice came out sharper than I planned. No, Mom, you made your choice. You chose to dump everything on me. You chose to lie to them about why I left. And now you're choosing to play the victim instead of being a mother. Her face went red. She sputtered, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't decide which insult to throw first. My sister looked at her, then at me. I could see the crack forming, the doubt flickering in her eyes. I squeezed her hand gently. You don't have to take sides right now. Just remember what I told you. Remember who's been here for you. Mom barked. Get out of here before I call the cops. I let out a bitter laugh. Go ahead. Tell them your adult son tried to visit his little brother and sister. See how that sounds. Then I turned, walked back to my car, and drove away before the tears could fall. Because deep down, I knew, Mom was losing her grip. And the kids, sooner or later, they'd see the truth. Leaving that driveway felt like tearing my own heart in half. But the minute I pulled away, I also felt something I hadn't in years, control. For once, I wasn't trapped in her cycle. I threw myself into work. Extra shifts at the diner, then a second gig at a hardware store across town. It was exhausting, sure, but it was mine. Every dollar went into a savings account I'd opened without Mom's name on it. No access, no loopholes. Ethan noticed the change. One night, as we sat on his balcony eating cheap pizza, he nudged me. You look different, man. Different how? Like, lighter. Even when you're dead tired. Like you're finally breathing for yourself. I didn't answer, but I smiled. Because he was right. Still, the texts didn't stop. If anything, they got worse. Mom went from guilt to rage to full-on smear campaign. Mom, you think you're grown, but you're nothing without us. Mom, your siblings cry every night. Hope you're proud. Mom, don't bother showing your face at the hospital when the baby comes. Then came the kicker. Facebook posts. A picture of her holding her belly, captioned, "Some people abandon family when times get hard, but this little one will know nothing but love." The comments were a storm. Old family friends, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years, even neighbors, all praising her, condemning me. Words like selfish, cruel, ungrateful littered the thread. Ethan read over my shoulder and muttered, "Jesus, she's painting you like the villain in her reality show." And maybe she thought that would break me. But instead, it did the opposite. Because for every fake supporter online, there were cracks forming in real life. 2 weeks later, I got a text from my sister. Just one line. "Sis, is it true you bought my school supplies last year, not Mom?" My throat tightened. I typed back carefully. "Me, yeah. And your backpack. And your shoes. Why?" A pause. Then another message. "Sis, she told me she did. I'm starting to think. Maybe you're right." I sat there, staring at the screen, tears blurring my vision. That tiny message meant everything. The wall Mom built between us was cracking. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was losing my siblings. I felt like I was finally giving them the chance to see the truth. And as for me, with every shift, every paycheck, every step away from that house, I was building something new. Something I could finally call mine. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not with Mom. She'd never let me go quietly. The breaking point came faster than I expected. It was a Thursday evening. I was hauling boxes at the hardware store when my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me swipe. "Alex," a shaky voice said. It was my sister. "They're fighting," she whispered. "Mom and Aunt Denise. About you." My grip tightened on the phone. "What happened?" "She was yelling about bills, about how you left and won't pay for anything. Aunt Denise said she should have kept her legs closed instead of expecting her kids to raise kids. Mom slapped her." I froze, my blood running cold. Denise was toxic, but even she had finally said what no one else dared to. "Where are you right now?" I asked quickly. "In my room. The boys are scared. Mom's crying now. She keeps saying you ruined her life." I closed my eyes, heart twisting. I wanted to rush over, scoop them up, promise it would all be okay. But I knew if I stepped foot in that house, Mom would twist it into another performance. "Listen to me," I said, keeping my voice calm. "None of this is your fault. Stay with your brothers. Lock the door if you have to. And remember, no matter what Mom says, I didn't leave you. I left her." She sniffled. "I believe you now." Those 4 words cracked something open in me. 4 years, I'd carried the weight of being the parent, the shield, the provider. And now, finally, my sister saw it. She understood. After we hung up, I sat in the storage room at work, hands trembling. My whole life, I'd thought leaving meant abandoning them. But now I realized, it was the only way they'd ever see the truth. The next day, Mom showed up at the diner again. This time, she didn't bother with sweet talk. She marched up to me, belly forward, eyes blazing. "You turned them against me," she hissed. "My own children. Do you feel good about that?" I set down the coffee pot in my hand. My voice was steady, calm in a way that surprised even me. "No, Mom. You did that yourself. All I did was stop covering for you." Her face twisted, rage bubbling up, but before she could spit another word, Claire appeared at my side. "Ma'am, you've been warned before. Leave, or we'll involve the police." Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Then, with a dramatic spin, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The diner was silent for a beat. Then a customer muttered, "Good for you, kid." For the first time, I didn't feel like the selfish villain she painted me as. I felt free. But deep down, I knew there was still one last storm to weather. Because the baby was coming soon, and Mom wasn't done with me yet. The call came in the middle of the night. My phone buzzed against the nightstand, jolting me awake. Ethan groaned from the couch across the room. I squinted at the screen. "Mom." I almost ignored it, but then another call came right after, then another. Finally, I swiped. She's here. Mom's voice shrieked through the speaker. The baby's coming. Get to the hospital now. Your siblings need you. I need you. For a second, my chest tightened. Old instincts clawed at me. Grab your shoes, rush over, fix everything. But then clarity cut through the panic. No, I said quietly. Her gasp echoed. What do you mean no? This is family. You're their brother. You're supposed to be here. I am their brother, I replied. That's why I'm not coming. Because I won't keep teaching them it's okay for you to dump everything on me. This is your baby, Mom. Not mine. There was silence on the line, just the muffled hospital chaos behind her. Then her voice dropped, venomous. You're dead to me. The call ended. I sat there in the dark, my heart racing but steady. For the first time in years, I wasn't shaking from her words. I wasn't crushed by guilt. I was free. The next morning, I sent one text to my sister. Me, how are you? Sis, scared. But proud of you. We'll be okay. I stared at those words until they blurred. My siblings weren't blaming me. They weren't fooled anymore. That weekend, I signed the lease on a tiny apartment. Peeling paint, drafty windows, but it was mine. My space. My life. And as I set my duffel bag down in the corner, I felt something I hadn't in years. Hope. Because walking away didn't mean I stopped loving my siblings. It meant I finally started loving myself. And if Mom never forgave me, so be it. I wasn't raising her kids anymore. I was finally living for me.